Welcome to Melissa Honey Speaks, where we chat about feminine magic, mindset, and manifesting. I'm your host, Melissa Honey. Hey, honeybees. Welcome back to another episode of Melissa Honey Speaks. On today's episode, let's chat about devotion in a way of how we manifest and where we put our focus at. So last night I was on TikTok for hours, and I just kept going through watching these TikToks, and I kept having all of these really passionate emotions about things that I didn't like. Like I saw a guy talking about something that I didn't agree with. I saw a woman talking about something I didn't agree with, and all these things, putting all this focus and intention and passion and energy into things that I don't want, right? So I'm experiencing all this contrast. So let's think about this. We spend a lot of time on social media, and social media influences our lives so much. And so when we're trying to manifest, how are we using social media to help us manifest what we actually want? Because we know how the law of attraction works. Anything we give energy to, anything we give our passion to, our energy and focus and our devotion to is what we're going to attract. So if we're giving all of our attention and focus to the things that we do not like, of course, contrast is important, right? Because contrast lets us know the things we don't want. But if we're spending all of our time in the contrast area and feeling more and more passionate, more and more focused on the things that we don't want, we're kind of doing a daily devotional to things we don't want. And part of the law of attraction is about focusing on what we actually want to experience, focusing on what we want. So with social media, it's not always serving our highest purpose. It's not always serving our highest good. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't look at social media. We have to avoid certain things. We can't, use social media in a way just for entertainment purposes. Of course we can. But we have to remember that our intentions lie within ourselves. So if our intentions are also included in energy. So if we're giving all this extra energy to, all the things we don't want, and we see, all these different ideologies, all these different experiences that we're having through our social media following, how can we experience and create the things that we want? How can we focus on what we actually want, if we're focused so much on the things that we don't want, and things that bring us disdain, or things that cause us like, I don't like that, I hate that, that's ridiculous, he shouldn't say that, she shouldn't say that, that's not right. Whether it's right or wrong, it's really about how we use the information. So I wanted to get back to square one. Square one is, what's the first thing we do when we want to manifest something? Square one is contrast, right? The first thing we do is figure out what it is that we don't want. We can make a list, we can write it down, we can talk about it, we can just think about it. We know what we don't want, right? We can make a list about it. I don't want to experience this. I don't want to have that in my life. I don't want this kind of person in my life. I don't want that kind of job. I don't want to live in that kind of house. So contrast is important, of course. But then when do we move from contrast to actually making the goal, making the intention, setting the intention for what we want, right? So the intention part is, what do I want to attract? Making a list of those things and giving all of our attention to that. The third part is actually the devotion part, is showing up and giving all of our energy to what we actually do want. It's important that we do focus on what we want. The intention part, the energy part that we give so much attention to, the contrast, is like, okay, so I pay so much attention to what I don't want. I've given all this passion, all this energy, all this focus on what we don't want. Now, what do I do with that? Okay, now that the contrast is supposed to show us what we do want. The contrast is supposed to say, I don't want this, but what do I do? What do I want? What do I actually want from these experiences in my life? Where do I want my experiences to be? What kind of lifestyle do I want to live? What kind of car I want to drive? What kind of experience do I want to have in my day-to-day life? That is what the intention is supposed to be for. That's what contrast is supposed to do. It's supposed to show us a way into what we want. It's supposed to say, okay, I see that. I've experienced it. I don't like it. I've imagined it. I've heard about it. I've seen it. So now I don't want that. I want these things. The third part of there's a few steps to manifesting, right? The first step is, like I said, figuring out what you don't want. The second step is figuring out what you do want. The third step is showing your devotion to those things, meditating on that thing, nurturing those ideals. And we nurture them by giving our attention to those, because we know the law of attraction is never not working. The law of attraction is always working for us. It's always working to give us what we are paying attention to the most. So if all we pay attention to are things that we don't like, that don't agree with us, that make us feel like, ugh, I don't like that, then that's more of what we're gonna experience more of that. So we want to understand that once we understand what we don't want, we have to start paying attention to what we do want. We just have to start focusing on that. So maybe on social media, you find people, ideas, or thought circles around what are the things you want to manifest. Maybe you want to live a van life. Maybe you follow someone who lives that lifestyle. Maybe you want to be a top income earner in your MLM or whatever. You'll follow people who are doing that. So you want to make sure that you are, at least in some ways, you are lining up what you want to experience in life. You are saying, I know that I want these things. I'm going to follow people who actually are doing the things that I want to do. And that way you can help put some passion and energy into that thing. So you put the energy into what I want, what I see, what I'm doing. It's important that we do that, because if we're not doing that, then the law of attraction is going to give us more and more and more of the things we don't want, right? So we want to make sure that we are following at least the beginning steps of attraction. We're saying, I know what I don't want. I know what I do want. And I'm going to do my darndest to pay attention to the things that I enjoy, the things that bring me passion and joy and happiness in a good way. Because everything else, it doesn't matter, because when we're focused on the things we don't enjoy, the universe has a way of saying, oh, so you want to spend more of your attention on that? Guess what? We're going to show you more of that. We're going to show you more things to complain about, more things to be passionately hate, right? We want to have more passion about the things that we actually enjoy. So I guess this episode is really about devotion. What are you devoted to? What do you want to put all of your energy into? Because we attract by where we place our energy. So you want to make sure, I want to make sure for myself even, that I am focused on the things that I want, the joy, the passion, the experiences that I actually want. And even though I spend a lot of time using social media as entertainment, I want to make sure that I'm putting even more time into understanding what it is that I do want. Understanding that I don't want to experience certain things, but I do want to experience other things. And that's where I want to put my attention to. And I would express to you profoundly that if you want to manifest your best life possible, that is super important that you also put all of your focus and attention on the things that bring you more feelings around how would you feel if your dream life showed up tomorrow. What would it look like? What would it feel like? And that's where you want to put your attention. So with that said, focus and devotion are almost the most important thing to attracting the lifestyle that you want to live. So keep your focus, even tunnel vision, maybe focus on the aspects of life that you really want to have and experience in your life. Because when you do that, the universe shows up and shows out for you in a way that you can never imagine, because it's going to give you exactly what you put your energy into. Whatever you're devoted to is what's going to begin to show up for you. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for listening to my podcast. Be sure to follow Masani Speaks on Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeart, Deezer, and you can also catch me on YouTube.